Great. Hi everyone, I'm Tad Hunt, co-founder and CTO of Exablox. Next I'm going to talk about OneSystem, which is our cloud-based storage and network management system. So at a really high level, a network management system enables you to do about 5 different types of things: fault configuration, accounting, performance monitoring, and security management. This is the third network management system that I've been lucky enough to be able to contribute to building. The previous 2 were in the telecom space, and everyone knows how reliable telecom networks are. And so why is that? Is because they've thought long and hard about these 5 areas. And if you look at what's going on with management systems, you'll see that you can take every one of the management system features and divide them up into one of these buckets. And I'll talk about that. So our devices, the OneBlocks, are always connected to our cloud management system via HTTPS. And then your browser talks to our network management system as well via HTTPS. And they exchange all the telemetry for managing the system. So config gets pushed down, telemetry goes up. Within the OneBlocks, there's a firewall between the user data and the management system. So the management software gets to manage the config, like what shares and what users and so on, and groups. But the actual data itself is all peer-to-peer, and it stays on-prem. Or if you're doing site-to-site replication, it goes peer-to-peer between the sites. And so it doesn't go through our cloud. And that way, your data stays secure in your data centers. And then, of course, we talk SMB or NFS down to the clients. And storage services are, you've seen this picture from us before. This is our file system technology. So
did you say all your management is tied through the cloud service? Is that
the only way to manage a OneBlox?
The only way to manage a OneBlox?
The only way to manage one of these is to go to onesystem.exablox.com, log into your account. It gets paired with your account through a pairing process, kind of like pairing a Netflix device with your Netflix account, if you're used to that. And then it shows up, and you get to manage it. And it's a multi-tenant management system, as Doug mentioned before.
There are some clients out there that don't allow cloud-like access and
Agreed.
stuff like that. And
yep.
Are you guys just not going after that space?
Yeah, you're correct. So in the short term, the answer is yes. In the long term, the trend we see is more and more companies are using more and more cloud-based services. And so we had to weigh that decision when we were getting started. Is do we do some local management
at all? Yeah.
When the clear trend is toward the cloud for stuff like that. We run our entire company on cloud services, right? And many companies do the same thing now. And so we didn't want to build a big local management system just in time for everyone to say, hey, can you run this in the cloud instead? And that's actually the trend we're starting to see. So yeah, there are a few industries that you kind of at a high level, a couple of verticals that generally, like finance, right, and stuff like that.
So does that? The other thing on OneSystem is that we just use HTTPS, so it's not opening up different firewall ports that are unique to us. It's just standard HTTPS. And for the larger customers, one of the things that we're investigating is actually spinning up a dedicated OneSystem instance for them in the cloud, and then doing something equivalent to like a GovCloud, where it's just an extension of their local area network, where it's in the cloud, they get all the same benefits, but yet they have their own isolated instance that they can then, as far as regulations and or internal compliance, they can then have the decision to say, yeah, this works for me or it does not.
So you're saying that all of these are open to the open internet? All your devices have to be?
They're not. I mean, they make outgoing HTTPS connections to our server, right? And so there's certificate checks, public key, encryption, and so on. Certificate checks on both ends.
But they must have. They've got public internet addresses to do that.
No, they can be behind firewalls.
No,
that's what I'm asking. That's what I would. That's
the session is an outbound session to the firewall.
It's just like how your laptop gets to the internet. We do the
the same way, like go to my PC, lets you come inbound on an outbound connection.
If you have customers who have security concerns, because I have several customers who don't want any type of outbound, can you still work with OneSystem?
So
would they not be an appropriate customer for that?
I'd have to know more about the customer to really answer, but at a high level, the only thing you need OneSystem for is to manage and to make changes as well as to see faults. On the other hand, we also have an LCD which outputs the faults. So the only time the boxes absolutely have to be connected to the cloud is to set them up initially. Okay. And it's only the first box. Once you have one box that you've set up, when you unbox a new one, you take it out of the box and you plug it in, it finds, ease of use is our big thing, right? So here's how cluster growth works. You plug in the next box, power, Ethernet, shove in a couple hard drives, it finds the other box on the subnet, and it automatically joins. So the only time you need it connected is the initial out-of-the-box experience for the first one. From there on, it's all, the other devices will join the cluster and take up the configuration and start serving files.
What do I do if I want to have multiple clusters?
Yep.
Different subnets is the short answer.
So
fair enough.
Hey, one thing, Howard, on the different, if you want to have multiple rings on the same subnet, in OneSystem you can turn off auto enrollment. So when you start with 3 and you turn on another 3, they will actually form their own ring on the same subnet. Through OneSystem, you're saying, don't join this one, create your own ring, and then you'll be able to have multiple rings for that.
So if I have access to OneSystem, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, in the context of no OneSystem, different subnets. In the context of OneSystem, like exactly what Sean said.
Yeah.
Now the infrastructure,
because I've also got, clients where there was no internet access.
Sure, sure.
Look, it's an offshore oil rig. Yeah, right. Yeah. We want cloud management for that.
Perfect case, right? You can, in your data center, you can set it up, and you ship it out, they turn it on, and it just works there.
Yeah.
Now, are you guys hosting the management platform in a public cloud?
We are. We run in Amazon today. Although we're not, there's nothing about our technology that ties us to Amazon.
Right.
Right, that we chose that because it's, so for a lot of other, same reason everyone else does it.
So I was looking for, do you guys have availability stats from a high level? What's the SLA around the management?
Yeah, so Sean can probably talk about the details. From a technology aspect, we're all HA, multiple sites, multiple availability zones within a site, and then within a region, and then multiple regions.
Okay.
So if Amazon's up, we're up.
And when we do our, we add new features.
And if Amazon's down for 4 hours, I can't manage to build a separate cluster for 4 hours.
Right.
Everybody still has access to their data within the company, but when we were hit by Amazon's outage a few months ago as well, and when we actually iterate new features in OneSystem, that upgrade process for us is a short window that we do on a Saturday night, but everybody still has access to their data locally. And then as we continue to evolve OneSystem to be even more HA, those transitions for us adding new features are going to be transparent to customers. They're not going to even experience a OneSystem transition.
So the key to the update, so if we are in a protected, non-network connected system, or I think of it like in a government secret or higher, where I have no internet access possible even closely.
Yep.
What is the update process? Is it just simply, hey, you download a package and push it out to the devices or something along those lines?
That's where it's not a good fit, right? So you do have to have OneSystem connectivity to download and upgrade the file system on OneBlocks.
Sure, okay.
And is that upgrade per an event that each OneBlock reaches out to do, or is there a proxy set up where one downloads it and then the rest peer get it from their peer?
Right. Currently, because we're talking about relatively small clusters, we each node reaches out to OneSystem independently and gets the update. Okay. Obviously, as we grow, we're not going to want to download across the WAN the same image 1,000 times. Right. And so that that comes as we scale.
And these are also the upgrades are all user initiated upgrades, and the upgrade is 200 megabytes to download.
Sure.
So we don't force anybody to upgrade. We just make it available to them.
Right. We'll give you you get an alert when an upgrade's available. And
what about other management things? I mean, if I want to create a SIF share.
Yep.
Do I do that?
You do a lot of that.
You can't say SIF.
I did that on purpose.
I know.
Do you do that? Do I need cloud access to do that, or do I do that locally?
Yeah, so you do that through our GUI.
Okay, so you really do just to do day-to-day
And Sean will give you a demo later on.
You need internet access to manage it day-to-day as well.
To do your day-to-day, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. And like I said, part of it is we have a telemetry connection as well. Telemetry comes up, so this is the smart data from the hard drives, your capacity trending and so on, and stuff like that. That enables us to send you alerts. I don't know how many of you guys have had to drill holes in firewalls to configure SMTP servers to send alerts from the other vendors' equipment. all that goes away with us. It's all zero effort.
Yeah, frankly, my biggest problem with this architecture for management is it increases the customer's risk that you won't be around. That if OneSystem stops working, then very shortly thereafter, I've got to start migrating my data because I got a system I can't even create another share on or change ACLs. And where if I had a local management server, I'd have a year.
ECLs, Howard, locally, that's all done through AD and independent of OneSystem. But you're right, you cannot create new shares or set up remote replication if you don't have access to OneSystem.
Yeah.
That's a trade-off, right? I mean, we're going to be around. We're not worried about not being around.
Well, but that could be short term.
Have to be confident about that.
Exactly.
I, as a customer, have to be paranoid because that's my job.
But that could be short term too, right? I mean, there's an Amazon outage. I need to make a share right now.
Yes,
right now. Not in 10 minutes. Not in.
And that's why
in the scale we're talking about, that's less likely.
Right.
But there's also there's never been an Amazon outage, for example, when all of their regions have gone down, right? They'll lose.
If you add that rider on it, then yes.
So, hey, look, it could happen, right? But chances are it's not going to happen.
Is there a plan to have a OneSystem deployable vApp, etc., that people can deploy internally in their own organization?
No.
So that they have that management point.
Definitely not.
Okay.
We're focused on, startups are a bit defined by things they decide not to do,
in
addition to things they decide to do. And we're very, very much firm believers in the fact that more and more, the cloud's going to be adopted more and more for more and more enterprise critical needs.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're riding a trend, and we're at a good spot in the trend, and we have a good customer base now and growing. You saw some of the stats about our customers. That by the time we would get to the 20% of the market we can't address, it'll have dropped to today it would be 20%. By then, it would get such a small percentage of the market that it's not going to be particularly interesting.
I mean, the technology itself would be really cool in certain environments that you can't do because they can never have internet access.
Sure.
And that pains me to say I've got a fix or a fit for this that you can never adopt.
Sure.
When I say I mean secret, top secret, etc. types of very large, very prolific, very sensitive, never will have internet access type networks.
And I think the long-term answer to that, right, is a lot of these sensitive things end up in some kind of cloud service. Maybe it's GovCloud, like
GovCloud is only for unclassified information.
Today, right? Today, but at some point there's probably a classified form of a GovCloud, and maybe not run by Amazon, maybe run by the government somewhere.
Classified,
right?
maybe.
Right?
Not really.
And so our technology, like I said before, is not specifically tied to Amazon. It's tied to running in a cloud.
Sure.
Right? If we have a high-value customer that's like, hey, I want to run this in this cloud over here, of course we're not going to say no if the dollars are there. Mm-hmm. And that's one reason why we built it, there. On the other hand, if it's not an interesting dollars, and we're focused on the mid-market, right? And so, are we interested in a government, that's going to buy, 1 million units?
Yes.
I mean, everybody would say yes, right? but is that who we're targeting, right?
That's not your targeting, but if they were targeting you,
yeah. If somebody
certainly,
then I would be afraid.
Look, I can only tell you, where we're going based on the customers we're targeting and the customers we're getting now, right? If that changes, my story's going to change too, right? So I want to walk through kind of the maybe technical level, your kind of feature level and benefit level for OneSystem. Really, everything's defined in these 5 categories: fault, configuration and accounting, performance management, and security. Right, and so for fault monitoring, this is all zero effort config. And this is actually basically, if you look at everyone else in all the other storage startups, they're actually doing some kind of cloud-based, reporting mechanisms, and a lot of them are building management, of the configuration side as well. And so this is, stuff we've built in from day one, and so zero config email alerts, fine-grained actionable intelligence. We don't just tell you there's a problem, we tell you what you need to do to fix it. Replace the drive in slot 5, it's bad. Good example of whichever node it is. The configuration management's all policy-based. It's not technology-based. So you're not configuring RAID arrays and assigning things into LUNs and stuff like that. You're saying, I want to create a share that has these users and has these these features, creating a disaster recovery replica site. It literally is you take the two rings and you drag them together and you press save, and so it really is that easy. From the accounting perspective, all the usage tracking and the report generation, and then remember a core piece of our business is VARs and MSPs, and so they need tools that they can monetize their customer base with, and so this facilitates, a lot of them do, things like subscription storage services, or pay-as-you-go storage services to their end customers, and this facilitates their ability to bill for that kind of thing. The last two areas, kind of from a feature technology perspective, are really performance management and security management. Security is obviously, managing who has access to what, who can drill down and do what operation. So it's all fine-grained from the security level, and then of course everything's audit trailed so that the if there is an issue or if the super admin needs to go figure out what's going on, that's very easy to do. And then performance management is really all about the predictive analytics, about figuring out what you're going to need, when you're going to need it, and what should you be planning for. And so a good example of this is we're collecting smart reports from all the devices under management, and that's growing at more than 40,000 reports per day. And so that's actually a really good data set for doing predictive analytics on drive failures. And there's some new research that's come out that's getting much better with predicting drive failures. So this actually can help our customers in a couple ways, because we get this global install base from all the customers, all the drives that are in use. If we can predict a drive failure, then we can proactively migrate data off drives that are about to go bad, so that it's a zero downtime or zero performance impact when that drive does go offline. Because we were prepared for it, and we could do it in the background before it actually failed. It also enables us to find bad firmwares or bad batches of drives across the customer base, and proactively notify our customers, hey, keep an eye out for this, or maybe you better upgrade the firmware in this, and so on. And then there's all kinds of hotspot and predictive analysis for when you're going to need more blocks, when you're going to need more capacity. What are the I/O patterns and what are the workloads looking like, and where do you need to increase that?
Is anybody doing an all-flash Exablox?
Nobody's doing an all-flash Exablox because we're Exablox, and we're talking about this product. No. So, are other people doing all-flash?
And then there's the unstated
object stores? I don't. Maybe, yes.
But, it is bring your own drive.
That was a question, so that was...
Or do you mean are our customers bringing SSDs to put into our box?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Customers, because that's someone on Twitter was asking that, is, are they loading their systems with all flash?
Yeah, and so this device...
It doesn't stop us from doing it.
It's got 4 1 gig Ethernet ports on the back, so you're not going to see a huge performance increase from SSD. And at 6 terabytes, you can go to 10 terabyte HDDs and 3.5-inch form factor, which this box is. Mm-hmm. You're not going to see a big capacity increase either. Sure. So you can do that. You will see a performance improvement, but it's not a performance optimized box the way a 10G product would be.
That's fair. Any plans for 10G on these?
I'll let Sean field all the future, leading questions.
That was one of my other future questions to ask as well.
Yeah.
So, discussing about the hardware, Exablox have only this kind of nodes which supports 8 hard drives?
Yeah, so this is what we sell today.
Okay.
These boxes, and their MSRP is 10 grand, and it's bring your own drive.
Nowadays, every vendor is going for maximum GB or TB per U. So,
sure.
Any reason Exablox is sticking up with 8 disks?
Yeah, so the reason we went with 8 disks is because we're trading off the capacity and the usability, right? If we went with into U, the most drives you can fit in the front panel would be 12. But if we were going to do that, we would lose the ease of use of a zero, a drive bay. Let me find one that actually has a drive in it. I don't know, one of these has drives. Anyway, I don't know which one has drives, but they're toolless drive bays. I'm actually pulling out of this.
Ones that are turned on, probably, would have thought.
Here. And so there's a toolless drive bay, right? I just pulled out a drive, and the OneBlox just automatically ingests it.
Okay.
We would have to lose that feature set. We'd have to have carriers and trays.
Okay, that's the only reason.
And people would have to screw the drives in.
Okay.
So that's why for this product, right, we focused on 8 terabyte, 8 slots. It gives you 48 raw terabytes per 2U, which is actually fairly dense. The other interesting thing is it's a half depth unit. You can actually rack them back to back.
Okay.
So you can really get 16 drives
Racking
each.
Yeah, racking back to back. Considering the infrastructure, kind of, how the heating will be managed, like.
Yeah. So actually, good question. How is the heating managed? Each one of these boxes, full up with 8 drives, only consumes 100 watts.
Okay.
So the real answer is, you can have a rack of these, and you don't have to run the AC at
Okay, that's never
all
going
the
to be
time.
a problem.
So they're very power efficient, very low power.
So if we had it loaded with 8, 10 terabyte drives, that's quite a footprint.
It's the same power budget, actually.
No, not from that standpoint.
Yeah.
That's quite a lot of capacity in
Exactly,
a very
right.
small footprint.
That's 80 terabytes per, right? And so if you look at what the customer base we're talking about, and if you looked from Doug's presentation a little while ago, we're talking about tens of terabytes to half a petabyte size deployments, and so that's a 1 rack kind of deployment size, even with the.
Do you have customers already doing back-to-back, or?
We don't really recommend back-to-back. That's for people that are out of data center space. Okay. All of our customers have plenty of rack space right now, so it's not or they're racking them, they're stacking them in a network closet somewhere.
Yeah, back-to-back, you'd really need to have the fan tray at the top, because you're exhausting hot air.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, my concern was network cabling with back-to-back, just because if you stack them high, it's going to be a pain to go up there and.
Yeah, you kind of have to take the side off the rack and reach in.
That
works.
Yeah.
So
you can only do
not
it
made rack.
Right, you can only do it on the end.
Yeah.
And
could be a 4-post.
The problem is that everything else breathes front to back, so the hot aisle cold aisle gets broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.